Hey there and welcome. This is Tammy with Country Girls Tumblers. If this is your first time, I want to welcome you. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing for future videos. Today we are going to be working on a wine glass, and this is going to have a hidden message on the inside, and it has a light pink glitter on the outside with a peekaboo with a darker glitter on the inside. And down in the glass you will see a hidden message. I hope y'all enjoy this. So the first thing that we need to do with our glass is wipe it down with 91% rubbing alcohol. Now here we are going to do our text and our designs that we're going to use as a peekaboo. So all I'm doing is within Cricut Design Space, I'm typing up the message that I want to happen on the inside, and we're going to size it and get the font that we want. So that it will hopefully look halfway decent. And the font that I like to use mostly is, I believe it's called Harley. And I may have that wrong, but I will notate that in the description of this video. We're just going to make sure we have everything sized to the size that we need. So I made a couple of different cutouts. One is a wine glass and a heart and a couple of other little designs. And I'm using my tweezers that I got from Little Lee and Rose. You can find that at Little Lee and Rose or iwantglitter.com. These glitters that we're going to be using today is going to be from Glitter Chimp. So here I'm wiping down, I just wiped down the glass with the 91% rubbing alcohol. And this is just Cricut removable vinyl. And we are going to get our designs and our words. Now, with this first part, the message that you're going to see from within the glass, I cut this out reversed so that the sticky is going to be on the glass. And with this particular vinyl, it's okay because both sides of the vinyl is the same color. I was in debate of how I wanted to do this, if I wanted to use a stencil or if I was going to use paint. There was a couple of different options that had been going through my mind for a couple of weeks. of how I wanted to do this. And this is the method that I came up with. Now, after having done this, I would have carried this a little further up. So what we did is, with the tape, we put a ring around just above the words. And we're going to use this Mod Podge. It's dishwasher safe. And we're just going to go below this tape, and we're going to put a fairly thick coat of the Mod Podge on, and make sure it's all the way around the glass. And we want to make sure we want to try to get as much of the lines out of that. And this is our raspberry glitter from Glitter Champ. And it's got like a holographic color to it. So you see little bits of blue. Now this is a chunky glitter, and we will have to put a couple of layers on. But in between each layer, you can see here, putting this down, I'm going to let this cure for, I thought what was going to be about 20 minutes, and it wound up being closer to an hour, to give this glue time to cure a little. And we're going to go in and we're going to use our fingers and parchment paper to kind of press down this glitter some. And in the end, that will help where we don't have to use as much epoxy to get a smooth surface. So once we've pressed that down, we're going to go in with another layer of the raspberry glitter. And we're just going to repeat the process. So we will be using another fairly thick layer of this glue. And once again, it's the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. And the reason why I'm using this is because I actually ran out of my normal Mod Podge that I use. And to me, this seems like it's a little thinner than the original Mod Podge. So it did take longer for this to cure than the normal Mod Podge that I use. So we're just going to go in and we're going to put another fairly thick layer of this Mod Podge, and that'll actually help adhere. It'll allow us to put another layer of this glitter on, but it also helps hold that first layer down to where it doesn't blend as much, in case it's still semi-damp. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to lay this glitter down onto this cup and allow this to almost completely cure, and we will be pressing that glitter down onto the glass again. And as I said, with this being a chunky glitter, And you can see here, it's fairly chunky. Pressing this down will allow that to stick a little bit better so that we don't have such a rigid glitter line, or what's the word I'm looking for? So that we don't have to use as much epoxy to get this to be smooth. And here I went in with a little bit of Ragin' Cajun, also by the Glitter Chimp. And it's pretty close to the raspberry. But the Ragin' Cajun is a lot finer cut, so it'll help fill in any of those voids. And you can see here that you can see that glue. So we're waiting for that to cure to where that glue is clear. And once that is cured, we're going to go in and remove our tape line. And you want to be real gentle when removing this tape and the glitter, because this is an item that we was not able to rough up a little. You could have more of a tendency of this glitter wanting to pull up. And with the first part of this glass, I went ahead and used some Hyperspeed. So this was a sample that I got. And as I was putting it on, the bottom portion did really well. But the top, you'll be able to see here that it had some milkiness in it. Well, that milkiness, even though I got this epoxy just a few weeks ago as a sample, I opened it up and used it about 2 weeks prior to doing this portion of the video. And it started to go bad. So to fix that, the bottom, like I said, the bottom is not bad at all. It doesn't have that milkiness. But the top, it didn't go on clear enough, and I didn't like it. And it had the milkiness. So I'm just taking a napkin, and this is some regular acetone from the nail section in Walmart. And I'm just putting a little bit of that acetone on this napkin, and we're going to wrap that around the glitter line and above so that we can take this portion of the epoxy off. Now, to help secure that, we're just going to use some cling wrap, and we're going to wrap that around and secure it really well. And so that that moisture does not seep down into the glitter, we're going to turn it upside down, and I'm just putting it in this silicone epoxy mug. Now, it wasn't on there very long, just long enough for me to put some epoxy on this other cup that you see spinning here. So about 5 to 10 minutes tops. And this has already started separating from our wine glass. So we're just going to go around, and we're going to continue to wipe with this acetone rag to help get all that epoxy on that upper half off. And I did have to use my fingernails to remove some of this that wasn't completely released off of the glass. And we're going to go in with our rubbing alcohol and continue to clean that upper portion of that glass off. And what this does is it will allow your oils from your fingers, you're lifting that off, and any residue from the acetone. Now this is a speed dry from Mr. Nola's glitter. I absolutely love it. I kind of get impatient, so anything that cures fairly fast is my go-to. So off the camera, I put the other decals that we were putting on this cup. And this is my new toy that my husband got me. It is a Ryobi cordless glue gun. And I absolutely love this thing. It gets really hot really fast. And you don't have to worry about the cords getting in the way. Or I've had battery operated glue guns before. And they did not get hot enough to melt the glue. I do not have to worry about that with this glue gun. So what I'm doing is some of these designs, I'm putting some of that hot glue on so that we can see it and remove this vinyl after we put our next layer of glitter on. Now some of these designs were a little too small to get the glue on, and it was a real pain. So here what I used is I used some Aleene's Tack-It glue just to put a good coat of glue to lay down this glitter. And all the glitters I do have listed in the description. Now this is, I believe what it was Vintage Rose. Also from Glitter Chimp. Absolutely beautiful color. But my problem is I like to have colors close to the same. But in actual reality, this should have been a lot different color. Maybe a black or something, so that you would have been able to see that color, that original color that we laid down better. After that glue dried, you can see a can of spray paint. What that is I just did a real quick coat of clear coat over this glue, or I'm sorry, over the glitter, so that as we were working at pulling off these designs for the peekaboo, that the glitter itself didn't pull up. And this was really hard to see, except for the ones that had the glitter on, the glue. So in order for you to see where the designs are, here's a flashlight that I had to use to see where the designs were so that I could pull them up for the peekaboo. we went in with 2 coats of epoxy, but to me the bottom of the glass here was a little too dull. So we mixed up our tumbler coating epoxy and laid that down, and we went back in with our raspberry glitter and put that around the bottom of this glass. Once we get a fairly thin coat of this epoxy, we're going to sprinkle our raspberry glitter down, and then we will use the remaining of this 20 ounces of epoxy to lay down on the rest of the cup or the glass. And I just have a foam insert on the inside of this glass. So I have a lot of older style dresses that I wear whenever I'm working with this so that I don't ruin my good clothes, because I tend to get messy whenever I'm working with epoxy paints, alcohol inks. So I want to apologize for that, and I'm going to try to do better in future videos. So I had mixed up 20 milliliters of the tumbler coating epoxy and laid that down. And we coated this whole cup. And here we're using the vintage rose again. And on the stem of this wine glass, right here in the middle where I'm pointing at, we went in, and the top portion you see the raspberry, the bottom portion we see the raspberry. So I just wanted to go in and kind of do a small ombre in that middle section. And we did 2 coats of epoxy over that using the tumbler coating epoxy, and this was the results of that. So if you like this, please consider liking and subscribing. And I do have another wine glass that we will do in the future. But until then, I hope you enjoy, and keep crafting.